What's the most popular gaming laptop last year? Lenovo Legion R9000P. It aroused heated discussion in various forums. It's safe to say it was the laptop of last year. As the star model, the newest 2022 R9000P is naturally highly anticipated. It was released in June, 3 months later than Y9000P. In this video I'll answer two questions. Number 1. What is upgraded for R9000P? Number 2. Is it worth buying at a price $149.40 more than the initial price? I believe you will find the answers after this video. Specs first. The CPU is Ryzen 7 6800H with 8 cores and 16 threads, Zen3 Plus architecture, and 6nm process. Its DGPU is RTX 3070Ti up to 150 watts. A 16 inches 100% sRGB gaming screen with 2560 by 1600 and 165 Hz refresh rate. The initial price is $1,568, $75 lower than Y9000P but $149.40 higher than 2021. Both Y9000P and R9000P are not good value for money. The exterior of R9000P is basically unchanged. For example, the lid and the bottom case are metallic. There is a big Y-shaped light which looks like an inverted Mercedes-Benz. The screen is 16 by 10 with thin bezels, especially the bottom bezel. The board is from CSOT, different from Y9000P 2022 we've tested. Probably they employ a mix of both. It performs well. Color is 100.6% sRGB in volume, and covers 98.8% sRGB with color correction document. After applying the sRGB preset in X-Rite Color Assistant, E-average is 1.19, with the max 2.23. The default brightness is 514 nit at max, and decreases to 480 nit when switched to sRGB. The screen applies DC dimming. The default black to white response time is 8.4 milliseconds, and gray to gray 12.6 milliseconds. With OD on, the foamer decreases to 7.8 milliseconds and the latter to 6.6 milliseconds. Overshoot and slight ghosting exist. OD switches in your favor. In general, the 16 by 10 screen performs well, with high resolution, high refresh. Color and brightness are also good. It's a nice screen for a gaming laptop. Then let's look at the base panel. The KEP board adopts a classic layout. Full height arrow keys and a numpad are available. The whole laptop weighs 2.48 kilograms with a height of 21.2 to 25.8 millimeters, a regular size for a hefty gaming book. The adapter is a 300W brick. You can even exercise with it when you're tired of playing. Taking a look at the I/O, basically the same as Y9000P with 3 USB-As and 3 USB-Cs, but the Thunderbolt 4 is replaced by a USB-C. The two USB-Cs have different video output, one on iGPU and the other on DGPU. Anyway, the ports are enough at most times. The laptop uses Ryzen 7 6800H chip. Compared with R75800H, there are 3 improvements. First, the process is upgraded from TSMC 7nm to 6nm. Second, the architecture changed from Zen3 to Zen3 Plus. Third, the frequency is increased by 0.3 GHz. The memory is upgraded to DDR5, and the formerly absent PCIe 4.0 is available now. It's known that AMD improves iGPU the most. The outdated GCN is abandoned and RDNA2 applied. The clock speed increased as well. To put it simply, the new 6000 lineup of Ryzen made great changes except CPU. Now let's see the benchmarks. First, the CPU. For single core, in Cinebench R20 single thread, it got 594, about 6% higher than R75800H. Single core performance is not the focus of promotion. For multi-core, the score is stable, basically fluctuating around 5480, over 400 points higher. As they are all P-cores without the help of E-cores, the multi-core benchmarks were weaker than i7. The CPU consumption maintains 90W and clock speed, 4.15 GHz throughout the test. Due to the 58 ATDC limitation, 75W is the top for R75800H. R76800H relaxed the limit to 80A, so the power is higher. In general, R9000P does make a progress in CPU. Aside from regular core upgrade, the power level is elevated, but the focus of improvement is not on CPU, so there is no big progress of R9000P. After CPU, let's see iGPU. Although it's not used often in gaming laptops, it can be a reference to ultrabooks. In the test, Time Spy scores 2190, FSE 3060, superposition 1399, nearly doubled compared to last year. It's great progress, even stronger than MX450 iGPU, even than Intel ZD GPU. Besides rasterization, the iGPU also supports ray tracing. Unbelievable. In test, Port Royal reached 843 points, cuz iGPU won't collapse, so the score is higher than the entry-level 2050. But 843 is also an ordinary result. No one really plays ray tracing games with iGPU, right? In a word, the iGPU improves greatly compared with the last general. Of course, for R9000PA gaming book, iGPU is not frequently used. So let's save details for future ultrabook evaluation. Now let's see the DGPU. It is RTX 3070Ti up to 150 watts, including 25 watt dynamic boost. It also supports automatic overlock in BIOS, which is on in default. The performance is equivalent to 92% of 175 watt 3080Ti, 10% higher than the 140 watt 3070 last year and even 40% higher than the 140 watt 3060. So 70 series GPUs all improved compared to 3060, like what had happened last year, while they don't differ much with 3080Ti, a flagship GPU. But compared with the last general of 3070, 10% improvement is not significant, the same level of CPU. If automatic overlock is off in pursuit of stability, performance will further decrease slightly by 3%, resulting in even smaller improvement. Now looking at the game test. Games were tested on the basis of MUX. Since the screen is 16 by 10, GPU takes more pressure than a 16 by 9 2K screen. For online games, under the native resolution, Dota with Full HD, 129, CSGO in the lowest settings, 446, Apex Legends, 195. The frame rate is okay for a smooth experience, but FPS of Dota 2 is still lower than that of Y9000P. It's because online games put less pressure on GPU. They more reflects bottlenecks of CPU. As AMD is weaker than Intel in this aspect, if resolution is decreased to 1080p, FPS of Apex will improve significantly. Other two games don't have great changes. Native resolution is enough for them. Then for standalone games, which focus on GPU, 3070Ti is powerful after all. Tomb Raider, 96 FPS, Metro Exodus, 67, Forza Horizon 5 and Warhammer 3, 74. Cyberpunk 2077 is an exception. Its optimization is so poor that even 3070Ti with full settings can't handle it. If resolution is to be lowered, FPS will be higher. FPS of Tomb Raider is even higher than Dota. I think 2.5K is enough for most games. Now we move on to the content creation test. PS scores 858, A 795, and PR 728, pretty much the same as online games. Adobe softwares also require more of CPU, so R9000P is slightly behind Y9000P. But the scores of R9000P is not low indeed. It's okay to do regular editing work with it. Finally, the SpecView 2020. Facing such GPU-intensive softwares, R9000P has a great advantage with 3070Ti, scoring higher in most projects than Y9000P 3060. To sum up, performance of R9000P 2022 is strong with enough CPU and GPU power consumption, an example for other laptops. It's suitable for big games or content creation. But CPU and GPU only improved a little this year, so the improvement of R9000P is average in test. It's only a regular upgrade. It's not hard to disassemble it. Remove all screws on the bottom to uncover the backplate. The interior is nearly the same as Y9000P 2022 despite some minor changes. Battery has a capacity of 80 watt-hours. When not charged, it will automatically switches to iGPU mode and disable DGPU completely. Battery life of PCmark 10 Modern Office is 7 hours and 47 minutes. But in traditional settings of hybrid mode, it shortens to 2 hours 19 minutes. This is obviously abnormal. The reason is the same as Y9000X we've tested. When Legion zones on, it automatically pulls out DGPU, which can't sleep, resulting a rise in power consumption. The bug will be fixed later. I recommend you use iGPU mode when there is no power supply. The stock SSD is on the right, 512GB Samsung TM9A1. The new gen supports PCIe 4.0. Benchmark is shown in the picture. It's an excellent performance. On the left is a reserved M.2 slot with a thermal pad to be assembled or disassembled. Wi-Fi card is MTK's MT7922, supporting Wi-Fi 6E. Memory is a dual channel of 2-micron DDR5 4800 MHz. Benchmark is shown below. AMD reads, write slower than Intel, but the latency is lower. Kinda like trading blows. Thermals are the same as Y9000P 2022, 5 heat pipes and 2 fans. One heat pipe hides to cool power supply and VRAM. The layout of heat pipes changed slightly from the last general. Then let's test its thermals. With 25 degrees around and beast mode on, in stress FPU, CPU ran at 85 degrees, 86 watts and around 4.75 GHz. In stress GPU, it ran at 150 watts, 86.6 degrees and 1530 MHz. Finally, in dual stress test, CPU, 89.1 degrees, 45 watts, and 3.375 GHz. GPU, 84.3 degrees, 140 watts, and 1500 MHz. Exteriorly, the heat centered on the right keyboard. The hottest keycap reached 43.7 degrees, 37.8 degrees for WASD, 39.4 degrees for space, and 29 degrees for palm rest. When ambient noise is 33.8 decibels, the full loaded noise level is 51.8 decibels, acceptable. In a word, thermals of R9000P 2022 are excellent as always. This year, core consumption generally increased and thermals face more pressure, but R9000P passed the test eventually. Besides, exterior temperature decreased a little. The performance is steadily progressing, plausible. After the review, I will list 3 pros and cons for your reference. Pros. Firstly, good thermals and aggressive performance. R9000P 2021 already has strong thermals, and 2022 version makes it greater. The core power level increased while exterior temperatures decreased. Thermals are in the top class among mid-range or high-end gaming laptops. Secondly, good display. Although specs didn't change much, but in the entire gaming laptop market, only a few have high resolution, high refresh and 16 by 10 in 1. And it has built-in color correction document and high brightness. It is an excellent all-around screen. Thirdly, USB-C supports 135 watt charging. PD charge of most gaming laptops is still 100 watt. But this one supports 135 watt with proprietary protocol and is compatible with 100 WPD, one step ahead in the field of portable fast charge. After pros, we should talk about its cons. Firstly, late release and short supply. R9000P 2021 was released last March, attracting so much attention with no rivals. But the 12th Gen Core gaming laptop was released ahead of it. When R9000P was released, there were already many competitors. Due to its increased price and short supply, it's difficult for consumers to get one. Secondly, heavy laptop and adapter. Laptop and the adapter weigh over 3.5 kilograms. It's heavy even for a gaming laptop. And the brick-like adapter is too big, not portable. Thirdly, RTX 3070 can't sleep and has a short battery life in default. In the hybrid mode, NVIDIA RTX 3070 can't sleep, making the battery life short. Basically, it can't live without power supply. It has been verified that it's a bug in Legion Zone. Although it offers iGPU mode that disables N-card to prolong the battery life, DGPU can't work. I hope updates of Legion Zone can solve this problem. What's your opinion of this laptop? In my eyes, this laptop has excellent basic specs. Both performance and screen reach the standard level. Small changes include lower exterior temperature, an additional USB-C, and 135 watt USB-C charging. It's upgraded a lot, but these tests left me an impression that it's not as surprising as it was last year. I can give R9000P 2021 an A, but only A for this year. One reason is that R9000P was released later this year, letting Y9000P steal the limelight, and the other is little progress of CPU and GPU. Compared with 2021, it's $149.40 more expensive but with minor improvement in performance, not cost-effective. Besides, it's a sample with small problems in battery life. It's good in general, but not perfect. As for my suggestion for purchasing, I'll recommend it to customers with a high budget who like playing standalones and have little requirement for portability. For standalone's experience, AMD R76800H is only slightly different from the 12th core. Objectively speaking, the price of the newest R9000P is higher than I expect. The last gen suits average customers with limited budget, as it has similar performance with that of the newest but is more favorable in price. Okay, that's all for today's video. If you like our videos, please hit like and subscribe to our channel. If you want to interact with me every day, please follow us on WeChat official account. I will talk about a laptop there every day. This laptop may be worth it or not, but all we want is to provide info and guidance. This is BIBA Laptops. I'm Jawan. See you next time.